Hi everyone and welcome back. In today's video I'm going to be working on a magical spooky themed mixed media album page. There is a full list of the materials I used in the video description box down below. The album I'm using is from Papermania and it's a ring bound album, so I can take each page out to decorate it and then put it back together again afterwards. I am using this album as an art journal and creating mixed media pages with papers, inks and collaged elements. The pages are made from chipboard, so they're perfect for all the different mediums I want to use. The main graphics and papers I'm working with today are from my shop and are part of the Halloween collection. You can of course use whatever supplies you have on hand at home. The first step was to glue down the different pattern papers I was using. I chose the Ghosts and the Bats pages as they complemented each other colour-wise, but also contrasted enough to stand out from each other. The papers will be covered up a bit later on, but I like to have everything matching even on this first layer. I'm gluing everything down with collage glue, placing a layer of glue onto the chipboard and then going over the papers afterwards with another layer of glue. This will help to seal everything. To add a little extra interest and texture, I'm tearing up some of the paper into strips and layering them side by side across the page. I like to vary the width of the strips as I feel it looks nicer to have things uneven in a background like this. Once the background was dry, I went over it with a bit of white gesso. You can also use acrylic paint as well. I'm using a dry paintbrush, picking up a little bit of paint and then gently brushing it across the surface. I'm applying very little pressure and I'm only just touching the page. I'm not aiming for an opaque layer of white paint, I just want to blend the background together a little bit and to tone down the colours so they don't stand out too much later on. Brushing the paintbrush in different directions also helps to create some interesting textures. Next I brought out some texture paste and a diamond pattern stencil. This adds another layer of interest to the page and again adds some more texture. I placed the design in a few places around the background, varying the amount of pattern I was using in each place. I then used some black ink to darken up the edges. This helps to give the design a little bit of a frame and to draw the eye into the middle of the page. I went round the edges a couple of times with the sponge and the ink pad as well, always starting from the edge and then moving inwards. I then looked through my tray of graphics to select a few to use on the page. I like to pre-cut elements and keep them in a tray like this so that when I'm working I can easily look through and pull out things I need. I ended up picking out a collage card with a bottle of candy cane and two elements, a ghost and a candle. I decided that the collage card needed to stand out a little more, so I'm attaching it to some white cardstock and then recutting the card out with some pinking scissors I have. I also added a little black ink to the edges of this card as well. Next it was time to attach everything and to build the focal cluster. I used 3D foam squares to attach the card and to build dimension. I placed the card on first and then added the little ghost behind the card and added the candle in front. I also placed a little text banner on the page as well, just to add a little bit of a title. A few Nuvo drops were next. I used orange and black, adding a couple of clusters to the page. I like to use Nuvo drops to bring forward certain colours, and the black and the orange worked really well here, highlighting the spooky vibe. I felt that the page still needed a little something, so I poured over some wooden shapes and added a couple of leaves and sprigs to the cluster using liquid glue. I find that leaves are a really useful embellishment to have. I can use them with nearly any theme and they add a really nice effect to the different projects. I also have a lot of flowers and butterflies because again they're natural elements and I find that they can work with almost any page that I'm making. And that is the finished project. I really like this album and the square format is fun to work with. It's a different layout to my normal art journaling spread, and the chipboard is great for gluing and painting on. I have a playlist of other page tutorials that I've made from this album, and that's linked in the iCards. I hope you enjoyed the video today. As always, leave any questions in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching and have a creative day.